Hey guys, in our previous video, we created a Power Automate flow to connect to Gemini API. We used a manual trigger to pass the prompt manually and we got the API response back. So today we will try to automate this. Instead of passing the prompt manually, we'll call this Power Automate flow from Power Apps and we'll pass the input over from Power Apps. And so let's get started. So we'll start with removing the manual trigger. I'll replace that with let me search for Power Apps. So we'll use this action which says trigger this flow from a Power App. Okay, so I'll add this input again, which is nothing but my prompt, and now I have to update the same over here as well in the compose. So now I'll take this prompt which comes from this Power App. Okay, so now the flow is updated. Let me save this. So now we have to go back to Power App, create an app over there, and link it to this Power Automate flow. So let me create a new app. I'll go with the blank canvas app. Let me add an input box, text box. Let me increase the font size. I will also give an hint text saying enter prompt. So this will be used to capture our prompt. I'll also give some border color and tooltip. Okay, so this is our input. Once I get my input, I'm going to pass this and I'm going to trigger the Power Automate flow. So to do that, we'll use a button. Okay, I'll call this as call API. Let me also increase the font size. Okay, so now we have to bring in the Power Automate flow which is created over there. So you could see the flow listed over here. Let me add this to the Power Apps. So now this is the Power Automate flow which we created over there, and now we have to connect that, call this Power Automate flow from this button. So let me click on this button on select. Let me say Gemini. It's nothing but my test app. So you could see the app name as test. So it's going to be app name dot run test dot run, and I have to pass my input. So since here we have defined an input, which is we have configured this prompt as an input. So this is going to, when we call this from Power Apps, it is going to expect an in one parameter called prompt over here, right? So we have to pass the input when we call this Power Automate flow. So the input comes from this text input, which is nothing but our text input one, right? We can, let me rename it. Let me call it as my prompt input. So going back to the button, I will say prompt input dot text. So what we are doing is, on click of this button, I'm saying on select, do this, run this test dot run this Power Automate flow, and pass this as my parameter. So whatever input I pass over here will be passed as my parameter. Okay, so we have brought in the Power Automate flow here, and we have configured all this. So let me save this app. Let me call it as a demo app. Save, and let me have a quick preview. So let's pass some prompt. Okay, so let me ask what is LLM in 10 words. Let me call this API. So now I'll go back to the flow. I'll go back to my flow history and let me refresh it. So I should see this flow should be triggered. Okay, you could see this flow is triggered. Let's get into the flow and we'll quickly have a look. So we could see the prompt which we passed from Power Apps, right? So what is LLM in 10 words? And we also could see the output, okay, generated by Gemini custom connector and so on. So on. We could also see the final content as well. Okay, so you could see the response. So that's how we trigger a Power Automate flow from Power App and we pass the input from Power Apps. So in our next video, we will also see how to retrieve back the result from Power Automate back to Power App. So for now, you could see the flow is triggered and we could see the output here, but we will see how to bring back the results back to Power App and display it in the UI or populate into a Dataverse table. Hopes we got some basic idea of integrating Power App with Power Automate. Please do let me know in the comment section for any clarification. Thanks for watching.